Afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this webinar. My name is Stephen Hernandez. I'm the Director of Early Childhood Special Education here at Hofstra University, and we'll spend a few minutes talking to you about the early childhood special education programs that we have available here at Hofstra for individuals that want to work with young children with and without special needs. So again, if you are somebody who is interested in working with young children with disabilities, we have some great opportunities available for you here at Hofstra. So as David McCullough says, real success is finding your life work in the work that you love. And with that, we have two programs in particular that might meet your needs and goals. One is, as it says here, a master's degree in inclusive early childhood special education, and the other is a master's degree in early childhood special education intervention. They are different programs with different requirements and different coursework, and we'll get into those particulars right now. So in general, our Masters of Science in Education programs will provide you with all the skills necessary to work with young children with disabilities and their families. The programs focus on serving young children across the full range of disabilities, from mild, moderate, severe, and multiple. And one program in particular includes a specialization in applied behavior analysis, which is the methodology that is found to be most effective when serving children with autism spectrum disorders. So overall, our program likes to pride itself on a number of different features. One, we combine our classroom face-to-face time with online instruction as well as with site-based coursework. You're provided with supervision in selected community-based partners that integrate theory that you learn in the classroom with practice that you then apply, in face-to-face interactions with students with disabilities. You are provided with continuous mentoring and advisement by myself and by my colleagues, and most students are able to complete the program in 2 years. Our programs combine a number of different facets into what we call our conceptual framework. One is the universal design for learning and technology principle, in which we embed into our courses and into our program the concept of universal design for learning, which allows for students with various disabilities to engage in the typical curriculum. We also pride ourselves on introducing our students to a variety of different technologies, including assistive technology that makes everyday life accessible for individuals with disabilities. We also embed into our coursework teaching on how to be a culturally responsive educator. We also pride ourselves on emphasizing the need for collaborative partnerships amongst parents and with other professionals. We also train you in how to diagnose and assess young children with special needs. And as I've already mentioned, we also embed into many of our courses the concepts that revolve around applied behavior analysis. With our two programs that I've been mentioning, and we'll get into more detail momentarily, we have the fortune of having two federal U.S. Department of Education scholarship grant programs. And these programs will provide for tuition remission for students who are accepted into the program and who are eligible to receive these scholarships. The MS in Special Education Early Childhood Intervention Program has a grant that provides 21 credits of tuition remission out of the 45 credit degree program. And students who are accepted into the MSED in Inclusive Early Childhood Special Education Program may be eligible for tuition remission for up to 16 credits out of the 48 credits that the program requires. Now, in addition to those two programs, students may be eligible for merit-based scholarships. They can apply for a whole host of other federal aid through the FAFSA program. We also have what's called a Hagedorn Fellowship, as well as the Teach Grant opportunities that could cover maybe another 12 to 15 credits of tuition remission. As I've mentioned already, we really like to pride ourselves on the fact that we get our students into the community right away, very first semester, and so they can have clinically rich experiences, right from the very first course that they take with us here. We have a number of different partnerships with programs throughout the region, including the Developmental Disabilities Institute and the Eden 2 Starting Early programs. So we send you out into these community-based centers. You complete at least a minimum of 100 field hours before you even student teach, and we handle all of that for you. Our field placement office and myself and the course faculty will help in coordinating your clinical experiences. So you don't have to do any of that work on your own. You have to obviously complete the hours, but we set up the field work hours for you. Now, some additional student and scholarly support that we provide here include what we call our SEGA program, or our Special Education Graduate Association. That's a student-run program with a faculty mentor. They organize a variety of different very fun and engaging activities over the course of the semester, from dinners with guest speakers to social events on the community, as well as to fundraisers for local programs that serve young children with special needs. And they were also a local chapter of the Council for Exceptional Children, which is the preeminent organization in the United States that serves students with disabilities. And these programs will, again, work with you and will provide you with an opportunity to socialize and engage with your peers in the program. Now, what about our career opportunities? Because obviously everybody wants to know what kind of work they might be able to get after they graduate. So early childhood special education in New York State is a certification that spans birth through grade 2. So that gives you a lot of different opportunities to work in the field to serve young children with special needs. Currently, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that there'll be a 6% increase in the number of early childhood special education job opportunities through 2022. And with that, if you get certified in either one of these two programs, you can either serve as an early childhood, early intervention support specialist, an educator, or what's called a community-based SEIT provider, or special education itinerant teacher. You can obviously be a teacher in a special education classroom serving children with and without special needs. And you can also be a public or a private school teacher in grades kindergarten through 2nd grade. So there's a lot of great opportunities, and many individuals will graduate and they will get a classroom position, and they'll also do some of the SEIT work as well after hours. So who should apply? Well, one, individuals who are committed to the field. Now, if you do receive the grant, you are required to work in the field for every 2 years of service that you receive funding for. But generally that amounts to around 3.5 years, 4 years maximum. But again, working in the field means that you have to serve children with special needs as your primary responsibility. And that could be anywhere in the United States, in any state in the Union, from New York to California, from Florida to Alaska. So application requirements. One, you have to have a GPA of 3.0. Obviously, you have to apply through the Hofstra portal. We require 3 letters of recommendation addressing your potential to succeed. There's a need for a written personal statement of professional intent. Then, once you submit your application, you have an interview with a faculty member, and you need to also supply scores on a nationally normed standardized graduate admission exam, such as the graduate record exam or the Miller analogy test. Now, that's the application requirements for all of our programs. There are, as I mentioned earlier, 2 different programs. One is our Inclusive Early Childhood Special Education program. That is not for individuals who are already certified as teachers. You can be a graduate from a program in psychology or speech language pathology, and that's the kind of program that is right for you. So no teacher certification or education training required. Um, those that are interested in our what we call our interventionist program, that does require someone to be certified as a teacher in New York State in early childhood or childhood in order to be eligible for that program. But the inclusive program doesn't have any uh, requirement for you to be a certified teacher. So whatever your undergraduate degree background is, we have programs that are appropriate for you if, again, you want to become an early childhood special educator. So if you require more information, this is the contact information. You can see my name and email address, and then my colleague, Dr. Schwartz, and her email address. Um, and I think we have already received a couple of questions from people. So one is, are we still accepting applications for the fall? Absolutely. Really, you can apply up to the beginning of the fall semester, and if there are openings, then obviously we can accept you. And if there are grant funding slots, we can also accept you. Now, I do have to let you know that the number of funding slots that are available are dwindling down fast. So if you are interested in applying and in potentially receiving this grant, you do need to apply ASAP. And I'm literally meaning like this week. Um, so again, we can accept applications up until the beginning of the semester, but grant funding slots and other scholarship opportunities are not always necessarily available. So keep that in mind, please. Another question, is it possible to work while I'm completing the program? Absolutely. Full-time enrollment in our programs is considered 3 courses or 9 credits. But as I mentioned earlier, we have a combination of both face-to-face and online coursework. So our courses, if are face-to-face, start at 4:30 in the afternoon, go to 6:20, or a later class starts at 6:30 and goes to 8:20. So if you work during the day and you can get here for a 4:30 class, that's perfectly fine. Now, keep in mind, as I've already mentioned, a lot of the coursework is online, either in what's called a hybrid course, where some of the coursework is face-to-face, some of the coursework is online, or in fully online courses or DL courses, distance learning courses. And those courses operate, obviously, without any face-to-face time occurring. They are run in what's usually called an asynchronous manner, which means that there is no one set time that you have to be on the computer or on the internet. You just have to complete the coursework within the schedule that the professor dictates. So if you work in New York City, or if you have to work late some days, we can then sign you up for courses that will give you that kind of flexibility, where you don't have to worry about getting to campus on time on a particular day of the week. If you travel and you have to go on vacation, or you have to go visit family members and you're taking an online class, just as long as you have internet access, you're able to participate in the class. So that makes things really, really flexible. Now, a lot of students or potential students also ask, besides can they work while completing the program, they also ask, well, what if I'm already teaching, or what if I'm already working as a teacher assistant, let's say in a special education program? What about student teaching? So both programs, all of our programs, master's degree programs, require you to student teach. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to quit your job in order to complete all of student teaching. Depending upon where you work, depending upon the position that you have, and depending upon the degree program that you are completing, you might be able to complete some of your student teaching on the job. And if your employer is okay with you doing that and they want to pay you for the work that you're doing, that's perfectly fine with us, just as long as you can fulfill your requirements as a student teacher. So we try to provide a lot of flexibility. Obviously, there are standards and there are requirements based upon regulations that we have to abide by. But we place you in in the sites that you need to fulfill your hours for. 2, you attend Hofstra and be a full-time student while still working full-time, or by having a family and such. And two, you can work and complete student teaching. You can even work while completing some of your fieldwork hours, because sometimes your fieldwork hours can be completed where you work. But more importantly, you can maybe complete some of your student teaching, where you work as well, which obviously is a great thing, considering that student teaching can be for as little as 6 to as many as 14 weeks. And then another question that we have here is, where do students get jobs after they graduate? Well, really anywhere and everywhere. I have not, over the past bunch of years, heard of a student who's graduated from a program who has not been hired as a teacher if they've been looking for a job. Obviously, they might get one or two that maybe are dealing with a family or dealing with a young child at home that haven't applied for a position. But recent graduates are all getting jobs. Early childhood special education is in high demand. Yeah, you might need to look into New York City or look into a charter school program. But students are also getting jobs out here on Long Island in the public schools. So it's obviously just a matter of of sending out the resumes, and we get a lot of calls and emails from schools looking for teachers. So it's not unusual where we'll get an email once or twice a week, especially as the new school year approaches, asking if we have anybody. And so we'll send out a mass email to all of our current students and recent alumni, and we'll send out the job announcement. So we have a really good reputation here at Hofstra. I think probably the best reputation in the region in terms of the quality of our early childhood special educators, and so our students are highly respected, and our graduates are even more highly respected once they get into the field and they show the quality teaching that they can provide to young kids. So getting a job has not been a problem, and I don't see it being an issue, well into the future. Again, just to reinforce something that was brought up earlier, and that is the differences in our program. So you do not need to be certified in order to enter into one of our graduate programs here. We have a variety of different programs that are customized for individuals with and without previous teacher certification. So if you have any interest in special education, in particular early childhood special education, certainly don't hesitate to contact me. Okay. If there's no other questions, thank you again for your time, and look forward to hearing from you soon.